Earth. We'll be talking about the PME. PME is the connection that is at the immediate pole that is serving your meter box with power. We'll also be touching about how earthing is bonded with the neutral that is at the cutout, and we also talk about the energy meter flow. At the consumer unit is when now you will have your earth connection connected to all the circuits in the house. Various meters are connected differently, and especially when we talk about the earthing. For instance, at this particular point where we have a smart meter that is mounted at the pole that is serving the customer with power. How is the earthing connected? As you can see, there is also a PME presence at that particular pole right there, my top boss. Now, in case there are excessive charges, they get to the ground. But how is that earthing done? Now, if it is a pole mounted, how will you connect your earthing? This is done at the meter box, and we will be talking about exactly that to ensure that earthing is perfect in any electrical installation. The bottom line is that all the wiring that is done at the consumer unit is all redirected to the ground through the earth rod, which is installed in any electrical installation, whether it is a single phase or it is a three phase. We'll also be tackling on how that earthing works all the way back to the transformer. This is a transformer here, and that is a demonstration of the coil or the winding. How does the charges or how is the earthing connected all the way to the transformer, getting back to the electrical flow of that phase connection, whether it is a single phase or it is a three phase. So today we are talking exactly about that, my top boss. Where are you streaming from? You are right on time to get this knowledge right here. And today we are talking exactly about that, the earthing connection. So glad to have you here, my top boss. If you are just joining in, smash that like button and let us get right into it, my top boss. First of all, to introduce to you is what we are used to here. This is the meter box, and I'm going to share exactly the flow of electricity all the way to the consumer unit. Now, from the pole, as we can see, we see that we have what we refer to as the feed or the national grid here. We have the phase, which is the live connection that is marked red. For this case, I'm assuming that my color code, which I'm using now in my country, I've tapped from the red phase. So from that single phase, I also have the neutral. We have been saying that the neutral is definitely the return path for the electrical connection. Now, the phase will flow all the way to our cutout. At the cutout, we will now have to tap the neutral at this output, and we will connect or we will do what is referred to as bonding. This green line here represents the earth, and it will drop all the way to the ground through what we refer to as an earth rod. So the earth rod will come in handy at the meter box. All right. I have Eric Anzane. Hey, Eric, how are you? Thank you. So glad to have you here. Eric is a top boss that has been a great follower. I also have Modika Mohale. Do you give certificates at the moment? We don't. Thank you so much, Modika, for being here and for that important question. Yeah, at the moment, you're not giving certificates. Yeah, so when we get to this particular point, it is very important for us to spend a minute there. We may be having a double cutout or we may have a single cutout. Now here, earthing plays a crucial role. If the earthing is not well done here, or probably there is an issue with the earthing at this point, there is a problem. But now this one is a demonstration for meters that are connected at the meter box. When we get to pole mounted meters, we will have a different scenario there. So for me to explain this, I will actually be talking about this connection. So the phase will drop at this point, and then exit, and it will go through the various safety devices, let's say a DP switch, all the way to the meter, all the way to another DP switch, or if you're using only one, and then to the consumer unit. But the earthing has to be bonded with the meter box as well as connected all the way to the earth rod. Yeah, so let me just give you a closer look of what we are talking about here, so that you may get a clearer picture, my top boss. Like my good top boss Eric, who is from Viga. Where are you streaming from, my top boss? I'd be so glad to know about that, and also to interact with you, so that it becomes beneficial to know that indeed, my top boss, you are here to learn and also to get some quality knowledge. I'm not saying that I'm the best, but I'm saying that we are here to learn, to teach each other, as well as to get more valuable information. All right. So at that particular point, you may be having a single or a double cutout. But again, all at the end of the day, it is important to take note that the earthing connection that will be done there must be very, very perfect. All right. So you must ensure that you do not miss any step when it comes to that particular connection. Right. So how does that double cutout look like? It looks like this, right? So, Eric, am I audible enough? Let me know whether my sound is coming through very well. So at this point, we will have this double cutout. So I like using double cutout because it's a two-in-one thing. So it is having a connection for the face. This, hosting our fuse. It is an 80 ampere fuse for the face connectivity that will be flowing here. So once the drop cable comes from the pole, it will get into this particular point, and then we'll have to bond the earth as well as the neutral together. And someone called me and asked me, my good friend, how can we connect that? And today I'm going to elaborate exactly that. All right. Good. My top boss Eric says, yes, I'm getting you well. Thank you so much, top boss Eric. You've been consistent. I really do appreciate you so much. So at this point where we will have the neutral connection, there is this plate here that is of importance to us to take note. So once the face drops here, the neutral drops here. At this point here is where we will tap our neutral, and we will tap our earth connection from this point down here. So if the neutral is connected there, the earth connection is connected here. We can have two neutral points connected here and an earth connection connected at this point. So that is how we will be bonding. The phase remains constant, where the incoming phase gets all the way through the fuse and exits at this point. All right. So that connection is usually done through what we refer to as a drop cable. So this is our drop cable that we are using to LAN with top boss. If you're just joining me, smash that like button, and know that you are right in time for us to understand more when it comes to earthing. Whether you're doing an electrical installation for industrial setup, or probably a connection for a single phase setup, or a home electrical installation, earthing plays a very key role in electrical installation. So that is a drop cable. It's a drop cable for us right there. So what you see there as the red is what we have here. And then the black getting into the cutout is this one here. So how do you obtain that connection? Let me just demonstrate it to you right now. If we have the earth connection here. This is our earth connection. This yellow with green. So if you're just a beginner electrical technician, you really get used to this connection. And so you must familiarize yourself with the color codes. Again, remember, it also depends with your country. What color codes are you using for the phase? What color code are you using for the neutral or the return? And for the earthing connection, I know it is usually standard worldwide, if I'm not wrong. So what we are having here is this red cable that is dropping from the pole. So how is the connection done? So at this point where we have this red coming into our cutout here, it will get all the way in. So that connection and this connection right here. So that is how it is demonstrated. I've done a very good video demonstrating exactly that. At the point where we have, let me still hold it or so that I can show you clearly. So at this red here, which is in coming to this point, as well as the neutral is coming in here, we'll then have our red connected there and our neutral connected here. Okay, so we will do a double connection whereby we have the neutral connected there and also tap the earth from this plate. So this plate will give out an output for the neutral as well as the earth connection. That is how bonding is done. All right, so that is how we do the bonding. And then from there now we will use our earth cable. So the earth cable, this is now the meter box that I am using. The meter box in itself can host all of those gadgets as well as the connections inside. So if we are having that meter box right there, and there's a video that I did talking about the entire connection that is at the meter box, especially when you're talking about earthing, as well as earth wiring at the meter box. I'll also be linking that video on our descriptions, on our show notes, so that you can be able to go back and make a referral. Now, an important feature of a meter box is that it has to be metallic. Why? Because a meter box that is metallic, my top boss, will enable you to do a lot of work here and be able to earth the meter box itself, so that any connection, like we said, any part in an electrical installation that is metallic has to be earthed, because people may go and install a meter box and the meter box is metallic, but it may expose them to a lot of issues if at all these people are having a contact with the meter box. All right. So what you need to do is to ensure that you earth that metallic part so that you don't have any problems when it comes to this earth issue with your electrical. Now at the meter box, we have said that there is this connection that is at this point. So from the meter box now, it will go all the way to the earth rod. So basically you have the meter box, you have the earth rod, which is this one here, so that they have to be connected together. They have to be bonded. All right. So this is our earth rod. All right. And then we have our earth cable here. So whenever someone sees this cable, they will know that this is a green with a yellow stripe, or is it yellow with green stripes? Top boss, what do we refer to that earth cable? And let me just know from the comment section, what is the ideal size of the cable or the wire that is actually earthing, connecting the earth rod from the meter box all the way to the ground. What is the ideal cable size from this point? In fact, that cable size should be consistent from the point where you are bonding at this point, going all the way to the earth rod, which is this one. So this cable, this is not the standard size. I've just used this because of the color so that we are able to understand each other. So it also has to be consistent with the cable that is bonding at the meter box. So the meter box cable, the cable dropping from the neutral bonding, as well as the cable going all the way to the earth rod should have the same size, the same as the cable that is going all the way to the consumer unit. So let me know, my top boss, what do you think? What is the size of that cable? You know, so glad to have so many of you here watching live. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate your presence. It means a lot to me, my top boss. Clocked 20,000 followers. I mean 20,000 subscribers here on YouTube, and it's a great moment for me to celebrate and to feel great about that achievement. That achievement is for us all to celebrate because without you, we wouldn't be here. So thank you so much, my top boss, for showing all the love to this journey of Top Heights Electricals. So at this point here, we now have our earthing going all the way to the consumer unit. But before we go far to the consumer unit, let me just touch on these parts of the meter box that make it a very important point for earthing. At the meter box, you will then create a point whereby you can be able to connect the earthing. For instance, at this point, you can be able to make a connection there. You can use a bolt as well as a nut and ensure that you tighten your earth there so that at the point where you have that meter box, the entire meter box is generally earthed, all right? Well connected to the earthing system. Anzane says, got a question, top boss. When you connect the neutral and earth cable when dealing with token meters, it will give you a bypass error. Why? Great question. Great question. Let us tackle it right there and right then. Now, for this energy meter, which is, how do you refer to it? If we have this energy meter, which we were using, let's say, before the introduction of the smart meters or the introduction of the token meters, this connection has been used widely from the word go. And this connection works very well without an issue. But again, if you have this meter here, like you have seen, when it gets to the consumer unit, still the earth remains on its own. You do not bond the neutral and the earth. So the only place that you bond the neutral and the earth is before the energy meter. So if we have the energy meter as the tokens ones, the ones that we are used to, if you have that, the bonding only happens before you feed the energy meter with the neutral. But at the point where you have the output, where the neutral exceeds the energy meter, you cannot bond the neutral and the earth connection. That will result to what is referred to as a bypass error. What is a bypass error? A bypass error is an error whereby the energy meter senses that there are some faulty connections which are intended to defraud the energy supply company of its energy or of its power supply, and therefore this meter automatically starts overcharging the user, in the sense that it will even record in reverse and give you reverse unit, so that you will spend a lot to electricity. So the energy companies are doing that so that they can be able to compensate on the losses whenever you try to interfere with their meter. All right. So the earth and neutral connection is only done at the point where you have the neutral and the earth getting into the meter, right? And then after there, when we go to the consumer unit, let me just give you a good example here. Remember, boss, we say that a consumer unit must be able to have a lot of allowances so that or provisions so that if at all you want to have more devices connected, you definitely can. This is a 12-way consumer unit. Now let's get inside and see how the earthing is connected. Again, when I was doing the earthing connection for a when I was doing the consumer unit wiring, I did all the connections and I talked about earthing. I was able to demonstrate that, and I'll also be linking that on our show notes. You can also check it out on our YouTube channel, this one that I'm streaming on, and you'll be able to learn a lot, my top boss. Now, when we get to the consumer unit, it is important for you to understand that the earthing connection has been given priority for consumer unit that is bigger in size, as well as the neutral. You can see these are two neutral bars, so many connections. We did a lot of videos on the neutral. You can check them out on our channel, of course. So this neutral here can accommodate so many circuits returning to it, and the two neutral bars are bonded together so that when you feed the source, which is the neutral here, it is linked up to this neutral bar that is on this side, so that each and every circuit that is returning power is connected here, and that particular connection is perfect. Because today we are talking about earthing, look at that earth bar that is right there. That earth bar is purely made of copper material, and that copper material is also this metallic. This is a metallic consumer unit. The purpose is to simply ensure that the earth connection is made perfect. So if I was doing that connection, I would still not rely on this one bar, do the connection there and leave it at that, and then start tapping earth connections for my circuits here. But what I'll do, I'll first of all bond these two, the earth bar that is on this far end as well as the earth bar that is on this far end, and then connect them together. Remember, at the consumer unit, you must not link the earthing connection with the neutral. That is after the energy meter, like we have rightly put it. So the earth connection will be connected here. If we are talking about this earth, you see this one that is coming from the neutral bonding here to the meter and then to the earth rod. And then from here, we have also connected to the consumer unit. There is nowhere else that they will be in contact with the neutral connection, my top boss. That earth connection will come all the way straight to this earth bar. And then from this earth bar, I will do a termination to this other earth bar. And then every connection that goes to the circuits, I will simply tap them here without having to tap the neutral. Smash the like button if you have already gotten that point. Very important. In fact, I would say that that is the most important point of today's session. And so glad to have some of you streaming live. Thank you so much, my top boss, for finding time to be here and getting value already. Please smash the like button for me. I will really appreciate. If you'll be watching these on a recorded version, I'll also appreciate your like. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, top boss, kindly subscribe. So the neutral connection and the earth connection is only done at that particular point, my top boss. But again,
You cannot connect them anyhow, because it will bring that issue, like we have discussed together with our top boss, Eric Anzane, a very great follower of mine right on Facebook. Whenever I post something, he will never fail to comment or to give me a like. So thank you so much for that. So these particular points here for our today's discussion, that we must, for other consumer units that have only one bar, you make sure that the incoming earth connection from the meter box is connected at this point, and then every circuit that goes from that particular consumer unit must be earthed at that point, topmost. So if we are talking about the cooker section or the kitchen section, we have the earthing that is connected here. So I know that I am supposed to have a lot of gadgets here, but for us to elaborate on the point of earthing, I've ensured that there's nothing else in my consumer unit. So if we are talking about these as our consumer unit, once you connect the phase connection from these MCBs that are normally placed at this ding rail here, you will definitely have to connect each and every earthing point at this earth bar. And while doing that, you make sure that you do a tight connection. There is also another mistake that people make when they are stripping the copper, the insulation. They leave some insulation so that when they are screwing this part here to that wire, they screw on the insulation and not the copper wire. That is a grave mistake because that circuit is not yet earthed. All right. So top boss, if you are talking about this earth wire here, you must ensure that you strip it. You strip it to expose the copper wires, so that when, in fact, you can even double, what do we refer to is, you can even backfold it, so that when you connect at this point here, we have a great surface area, making that connection mechanically and electrically sound. What do I mean by mechanically sound? I mean that it is tight, it cannot easily get off, and also that connection is electrically sound, meaning that it is able to perform its purpose of conducting the excessive charges all the way to the meter box and down to the consumer unit. And down to, not the consumer unit, down to the earthing connection. Evans Electrical, you're not late, my top boss. You are just right in time. So we just started, and don't worry, I will also have this video on record version so that you will be able to get into the lesson and learn a lot. So at the consumer unit, we must ensure that we do that perfect work. So glad to have so many of you here. Thank you so much, my top bosses. Wow, this is quite impressive. Thank you so much for finding time to be here. Smash that like button if this live is something that you are enjoying this Sunday afternoon. And also, if you'll be watching us a recorded version, my top boss, kindly smash the like button. And if you're not a follower or a subscriber, subscribe to my channel for more. Also, find me on other platforms like Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and likes. Thank you so much. My name is John, and today we are tackling this important aspect of electrical, which is earthing. Having us gone through all of these particular points here, let me just touch something on the neutral. And this is also having a connection with the earthing, because a consumer unit that is not well done will definitely bring an issue when it comes to the billing or probably the electricity charges from the meter. Now, let me touch on something. You see these two earth bars that are here are in direct contact with this metallic consumer unit. How? If you can see at this back point here, look at that. So it is directly connected, as you can see, and at this point, as you can see. So that means that these earth bars are in contact with the consumer unit. So that makes the entire consumer unit earthed as well. Remember, we talked about earthing each and every electrical part that is metallic. So that is how the consumer unit also finds itself being earthed by the fact that it is metallic. That is something that is so interesting about the design of the consumer unit. But again, remember at this point where we have the neutral bar, this casing here of this metallic of this neutral bar is plastic. And the plastic has been screwed to the metallic part here so that it cannot be able to be in touch with the metallic case. So that is how they cleverly avoided the issue of bonding earth and neutral at the consumer unit level. I don't know whether you have gotten that point, or should I repeat? Should I repeat my talk, boss? The earthing or the earth bars are in direct contact with the metallic part, the entire metallic part of this consumer unit. These bars that are here, this one, is in contact with this consumer unit by the fact that the screwing of this bar to the metallic part can conduct electricity, as you can see. So there's no rubber, plastic, or anything, to insulate the earthing from the metallic part all the way to the other one. But if earthing connection is connected at this point, the entire consumer unit is earthed. But the reason why you must connect or you must link the two, this earth bar to this earth bar, so that you may make that the two connections electrically sound, right? So that they can be able to perfectly conduct electricity or the excessive charges to the ground out there to the meter box through to the earth rod. So if I may get rid of this one earth bar there, I can be able to also demonstrate to you what I'm saying. So this screwing here, this is purely plastic. This is plastic. The bar that is inside there is what is made of copper. Okay. So let me just try and get rid of that bar so that I can be able to clearly demonstrate to you what I mean, so that you may also get a picture of how the neutral is separated from the earth connection by the manufacturer of the consumer unit. And this is where now you must be very intentional when you are purchasing these items, because when you purchase a brand that does not really understand about that particular connection, then you will find that you have done your electrical installation, but again, the customer is complaining or the meters are giving an error of a bypass, for instance, if we may use that example. Sorry about that. Let me just get rid of this bar here so that we may be able to learn about it. So as you can see, these are the points that are holding this earth bar here. And so the earth bar, as you can see, deep inside is that metallic, or it is that copper bar hosting points where we'll be screwing the return cables. And at this casing here, like you can see, it is plastic. So when you screw it on to the consumer unit, it is not in contact. And if we can take the continuity test between the earth and the neutral, you will find that it is actually one. If you test the continuity between this earth rod and this earth rod, you will find that it is a short circuit. Can we do that? Of course. So let me take my digital multimeter. We said that while troubleshooting, it is important for you to always have your digital multimeter with you so that you can make work easier. Top boss, if you go to do a troubleshooting work without that digital multimeter, it will be rough on you. It might be difficult for you to trace where the problem is. Now, if you want to get yourself a quality digital multimeter, you can check in the description. I will leave a link to you getting great multimeters there. So you put this multimeter on, turn it on, and we have several connections here or points here where we can take our readings. That is the reading for AC, which is what we are dealing with now. So using your probes, these are what we refer to as probes. This one you can place on the face, this one on the neutral, for you to get a reading here. So if at all you are expecting 230, for instance, in our country, you will place your pointer at 750. If for, let's say, the countries where in USA you expect 100 volts or 110 volts, you simply turn it to 200 so that you can be able to take the readings that you expect. Deleted says just hunt lions. I don't know what you mean, but either way, welcome. Now, at this point here, you can take the readings for 110. That is for the case of our legends in America. And then for this point, definitely 240. That means you are expecting a reading of above 200 volts. That is AC. All right. If you're talking about DC, remember that is a representation of direct current, DC. So if, for instance, a DC, you're expecting something that is over 500, 200 volts, can place your pointer at that point. If it's a battery that is 24 volts, place it there, or 12 volts, place it there, or 5 there. Great. But today we are talking about continuity test. So we'll turn our pointer all the way to that point, whereby if we have our probes, coming in contact, that means continuity. So it simply means that the circuit or the connection is actually continuing, right? That connection is continuing. So what do you do? For our consumer unit here, we want to test, does that neutral bar have any relationship with the earth connection? Let us check. And then we will also be able to check between these two earth bars that are on the side. Do they have a contact so that we can be able to, really detect that indeed that box is well earthed. So we start by placing a probe at one of the earth bars, and on the neutral bar we have one meaning that indeed they are not in contact. Infinity, when we place there, that is on the other earth bar, they are in contact with each other, meaning that they are circuiting. So that directly tells us that indeed that is a perfect connection for the earthing. But again, for you to strengthen it, you must be able to link the two earth bars. All right, awesome. So smash that like button, and thank you so much if you are just joining in, and so glad to have you here, my top boss. Thank you so much for joining. I have Evans, I have Rick, I have Modika. Thank you so much for finding time. Where are you streaming from? Thank you so much for your time. Now that is based on the domestic, or basically single phase wiring. I've really explained about that earthing connection and why you should not bond the neutral and the earth, especially after the meter. That was courtesy of our top boss, Eric Anzane, who asked that question, and we have rightly answered it. Now let us go to the PME. Quite an interesting topic that I am also passionate about. Belit Shibabo says, hi, top boss. How are you? So glad to have you here. Belit Shibabo. Wow, what a great name. Coming in here with a lot of energy. Thank you so much, Belit. You actually make our live stream look great after we've been insulted by a guy here by the name Deleted. Says just hunt lions, but again, hunting lions is such a good thing. Here in Africa, we love doing it. We take a break by ensuring that we talk about what affects us as top bosses. PME is very important when we are talking about earthing. Why? PME is the earthing that is located at the immediate pole that is serving your electrical supply with power. PME stands for Protective Multiple Earthing. So at this point here, we have our drop cable. But again, someone will ask now, how does the drop cable come to our cutout? The drop cable comes with only two connections, like so. So we have the neutral and the face, or we have the face and the neutral, whichever comes first. But normally it is the face and then the neutral, because the neutral will act as a return path. So the red cable is representing the face, and this black here is representing the neutral. Hold on, top bosses. Let us welcome our top Promise Eze. Says my first time. Wow. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Promise. Salute. So glad to have you here. Welcome. This is the home of simplified electrical knowledge, either from me or my top boss like you. Thank you so much. Belit from Ethiopia says you are from Ethiopia. What an honor. I'm in Kenya, myself, Nairobi, and it feels so great to have top bosses from outside Kenya. I have a lot of friends from Kenya who support my work. It is not easy for you to have your own supporting you, but the majority of my audience comes from my country. My country people, salute. Thank you. So from this pole here, we have a drop cable. This drop cable, its size is 16 millimeter square. That is in terms of the diameter, right? Check it out, top boss, the diameter. Why? Because it is supplying electricity. It is the supply cable. it is supplying current to that installation, be it as a domestic or a business, but it has to be a single phase. All right. So the connection is done there, and then it drops at this point. So the earthing is tapped at the output of the cutout, that is at the return section or the neutral section. Now, at this point here, the pole, we tap the PME protective multiple earthing from the neutral conductor. That is at the power lines that are on the national grid. Normally, the topmost part for a single phase connection is the live or the face. You know, if at all you are having two conductors on the national grid, we have two lines, and the topmost, regardless of where you are or the transformer that is supplying that area with power through those power lines, the topmost part is usually a phase. Now, it might be from a three-phase transformer. The phase might be a red phase, a yellow phase, or a blue phase. But the top part of the two conductors is definitely a phase, and then the one that is on the bottom is the neutral. Now, since this company cannot be able to invest in another cable or another wire to make three conductors for that particular installation, this neutral serves as a return path all the way to the transformer. All right. So again, at the transformer, the neutral and the whole body of the transformer and any metallic part of the transformer setting, you know, including the cross arm, the metallic part of the transformer, all of them are earthed. Also, the neutral at the transformer that exits from the transformer, or the return that goes back to the transformer, is earthed. I don't know whether you have understood that. So it's just like at this point, we have the meter box earthed separately here, and then we have the PME earthed. So what happens then? The PME, whenever you have, what is the relationship between the earthing that is done at the domestic level or at the point where you have that installation, whether single phase or three phase? What is the correlation? Now, this earthing that is bonded at the cutout to this neutral is in connection with this PME, because the neutral is in contact with the conductor that is on the national grid, and this PME is in contact with the conductor that is at the national grid, dropping to the ground. Now, let's say you have excessive charges flowing from an installation or flowing from the home. Excessive charges meaning that there is a shock that is experienced either in the kitchen or in any electrical installation or appliance in that home has what we refer to as an electric shock on the surface or on their metallic surfaces. What happens then? So what happens? The charges will flow all the way. Remember, at the consumer unit, let's go back to our consumer unit. At the consumer units, we have all our circuits coming back here. This is the safety point of an installation, right? Smash the like button if you've just joined us, and if you are getting value, Top Boss, I will appreciate your like button. And also, if you have a question, don't forget to write it on the comment section, and I will be tackling it right now as we are live. So any wiring, any circuit has to return to the consumer unit. Now at the consumer unit, assuming that there is any faults, or assuming that there are excessive charges from, the kitchen or any heating up, some of the things or devices in our homes or in a business setup that are prone to these issues. Yeah. So, for instance, when you are cooking, there are high chances that you can experience an electric shock if that appliance, let's say a cooker, is faulty inside, and therefore, if it is faulty, excessive charges will find their way to the metallic case. Now, what happens? The charges will flow all the way through the earthing system of that cooker. Let's just flow with the cooker example. From the cooker inside itself, from the cooker itself, all the way to the power cable, the cord, through the earth connection. Now, this cord has to be made of 3 cables. Very important. The phase, the neutral, which is the return, as well as the earth. So that in case of excessive charges, that earth connection, which is connected on the metallic surface of that cooker, will actually tap all the charges very fast. That is why that cable has to be of the correct size, and it must be of the correct material, of course, which is copper. Okay, so the charges will flow all the way to the consumer unit, to this bar. First, before from the cooker, it will go all the way through the cable to the socket, the power socket, and come all the way to the consumer unit, where it will get to this earth bar. This earth bar now is connected to the earth wire, which now flows all the way from the consumer unit, as we can see there, to the consumer unit, which I've indicated it should be here, and then it will flow all the way to the earth rod. So you can see this cable. Let me just flow with you. So you can see from the consumer unit, it will flow all the way. This will be the path. It will flow all the way very fast, unnoticed, very fast, and then to the ground. Now, because we have talked about that particular bond, one thing that you need to know is that in case your earth connection is broken, but you have such a good PME, then these charges will flow all the way back through the neutral connection to this pole that is here, and down to the PME, to the earth. Now, it does not just go to the earth, it goes back to the transformer, the source. Big question here is how? Do you have another wire down there? Do you have another conductor down there? The earth itself conducts, of course, it has with a very big resistance, but these charges will definitely their way to the source. So anything that comes, from a certain source will always find itself to the source. Like, let's say we are talking about lightning. Do you know that those charges are directed to the ground and they find their way back to the source? Okay, so they don't just follow a path or disappear like that. So they follow, or they go back to the source. So if we are talking about the electric charges, our source at this point is the transformer. It's just like you have a neutral. That neutral cannot return to transformer B if the phase is coming from transformer A. The neutral will always locate the source of the phase, which is the specific transformer that generates that phase. So we will be seeing that in a few. So if these charges, if the earthing at the domestic level is very perfect, or the single phase level, or at the 3-phase level, let's say we are talking about the industrial, and we will talk much more about industrial wiring. I already introduced a topic, you can check it out on our channel. We have these charges going through to the earth rod that is localized. So when doing the electrical installation, You must ensure as an electrical technician that the earthing that is done there is perfect. So let's say, for instance, you are doing the earth rod connection just underneath the meter box. You must ensure that the earth rod is in a conducive environment, in the sense that the excessive charges will be able to find their way to the ground very fast and very safely. That is how we define earthing. Earthing is creation of a safer, faster path for excessive electrical dangerous to people or to an electrical installation, or even to the electrical appliances that are supplied by electricity with that specific installation. So electrical earthing covers three important points or parts: the electrical installation itself, most importantly, the people that are in that particular setup. Let's say it is a house, or it is a home, or it is a business or an industrial setup. And finally, it has to protect itself from any damage. So the appliances, electrical installation, as well as the people that are inhabiting in that place, or even their pets. That is something that we must take good care of. Yes. Nelson Walishimba, my top boss, says, watching you from Zambia, though I'm late. You are not late, my top boss. You will even watch the entire session as a repeat version, my top boss. Thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate. How is Zambia though? How is Zambia? So I don't know whether you have any question on this particular point here, but if you don't have, allow me to go to a different setup where we have a pole mounted meter. This is usually a smart meter, right? Julius, how are you? Hey, Julius is my country man. Yeah. Julius says, I'm watching you from Kenya. Thank you so much, Julius, for being here and for finding time to join me. Such an honor. Like I said, it's not easy to have people from your own country watching you, consuming your support of what you are doing. But Julius, my top boss, an incredible being. A smart meter, if you have ever seen a box on a pole, and then there is a supply of that cable only to an installation or a building, always know that this smart meter here uh, is usually fed from, or there is an app that feeds this smart meter in order for it to allow the flow of electricity from the national grid all the way to whatever installation that is done under it. Now, the question of earthing under this setup is very important, because on the other setup, we said clearly that the bonding is done at the cutout. But again, we have a cutout here, and the meter is before the cutout. What happens? If you bond the neutral and the earth, that means that you have bonded the neutral and the earth after the meter. That will bring an error, and that will not be something good, because now the customer will be exposed to a lot of electrical expenses, or electrical bills, which will actually injure them economically. So what happens then? Yeah, what happens at that point? So what happens at this point? You must ensure that you develop a localized earthing system without necessarily having to rely on the connection of the PME or the bonding of the utility company. How?
you ensure that, for instance, what you are talking about at this meter box, right? So let's say we have our meter box here, and we will have our cutout just so we isolate the electricity in case of an issue. We can as well have the double pole. The purpose will be to isolate electricity in case of an overcurrent at the loads or a short circuit at the loads, or we just want to isolate electricity from that installation so that we may do either maintenance work or upgrading, or we are extending the electrical installation. We have to switch it off. Okay, so the earth connection will be started from the metallic point of the meter box, and then all the way to the earth rod, and then from there it will go direct to the consumer unit. So the neutral and the earth connection will not be bonded in the meter box or in the consumer unit. I don't know whether you have gotten that point, my top boss. And if you have, smash the like button. If there is a question that you have, let me know on the comment section. At the meter box, PME has to be there. Why? Because PME plays a key role when we are talking about the connection, the earth connection at the immediate pole that is serving the customer with power. Nelson Walishimba says Zambia is cold, though we are experiencing load shedding due to climate change. What is climate change, by the way? I struggle with that. Lego Play says, what's up from Las Vegas? Wow. Thank you so much, Lego Play. So glad to have you all the way from Las Vegas. What an honor. Never thought I would be global when I started this, but now I really do appreciate. I really do appreciate you. So we have seen that indeed at this point, the earth, the protective multiple earthing at the pole remains, that indeed that particular connection has to be connected, and as you can see, it is connected at the neutral conductor of the national grid. So the meter is not touched. If you bond the neutral after the smart meter, there is an issue. You will have an error, and that error will definitely affect the consumption of electricity, in the sense that the customer will pay more for electricity. All right. Smash the like button, and if you have a question, let me know on the comment section and I'll be glad to address it. Last but not least, my top boss is a demonstration here at the transformer. Also, I did an extensive video at the transformer where I talked about earthing, the various earthing points for a transformer. All right. So if at the PME, this is what we are having, at the pole that is serving the customer with power or the electrical installation, the charges will flow, like I've indicated, all the way to the ground. What happens when they get to the ground? They flow through the earth back to the transformer. They don't just disappear to nowhere. Yeah, you don't say that these are, the earthing, the charges just go to the ground and are sunk, or they just disappear in the ground, or they just get into the earth. No, they go back to the source. When they go back to the source, it is of course understandable that there is a huge resistance, but again, once they are in the earth, they will locate their way to the transformer. Once they get to the transformer, the earthing that is done at the transformer will do such a good ring that the charges flow back all the way to the transformer. And then
they can find their way back as safe electricity for use. I don't know whether that is making sense to you and whether you have understood that point. So that is what we are having. PME all the way to the ground, and then once they flow to the ground, the same will actually apply when we are talking about the meter box. So once they flow all the way to the ground at the meter box there, they will go all the way to the ground. And if they are flowing from the national grid, that is from the neutral on the national grid, they find their way all the way down, and then they flow back to the transformer. All right. So my top boss, that was it, and I believe that I will be able to teach you more when it comes to earthing through you watching the videos that I've done. They are on our channel where I talked about earthing at the meter box, the transformer, and any electrical installation, especially the single phase where I've covered earthing. I've also talked about the various earthing grounds and how to deal with them. Is it a rocky, or is it made of the soil made of a certain material? How do you deal with that? I have covered that, and I will also be talking more on that and be linking those videos on the show notes. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your time here. And if you'll be watching this video on a recorded version, Top Boss, thank you so much also for finding time to watch the video. Smash that like button, and if you have not subscribed to our channel, subscribe my Top Boss. Thank you so much for your time. My name is John, and this is Top Heights Electricals and Electricians. See you next time. My Top Boss salute. Bye for now. Thank you so much for finding time. Julius, you're a good teacher. Thank you. Thank you so much. It means a lot when you give me such a feedback. Appreciated. Thank you. Thank you. Enjoy your evening, my top boss. Goodbye.